So, I wanted to come here and make this video about a video that was sent to me from Yvette Carnell, where she talked about Claude Anderson. First and foremost, I want y'all to know that this ain't no diss video, no roast session. I don't do shit like that. I know that's what y'all like, so if that's what you're looking for, then this will not be the commentary you need to listen to. I'm only here to talk about what was said based on who said it. Now, from my understanding, as we talked about this on my live show that I did on so-called Christmas Eve, I talked about me watching Dr. Claude Anderson's Breakfast Club interview. Now, apparently, Yvette Carnell saw this interview and felt as though he disrespected her and her movement when he said something along the lines of, these people that are talking about reparations right now don't know really what they're talking about, and a lot of that shit they got from me. Now, I said in my live show that anybody that is not paying homage to Dr. Claude Anderson, that is having the conversation of reparations, considering the work he's put in to make the conversation about reparations something that he does when he does his speaking engagements, is disrespectful. Y'all told me that Yvette be paying respect to Dr. Claude Anderson. Now, again, I didn't mention her name even when I talked about it. I said anybody, because I don't give a fuck who it is. If you're going to be making a claim and building an entire platform around reparations, you have to at least mention this man. You have no choice, in my opinion, again. And I watch this live stream she does, where she wants to bring Dr. Claude Anderson down a few pegs. Now, again, this is an 85-year-old man. She wanted to expose him and call his teachings outdated. And I got an issue with that. I got an issue with it based on her premise. Now, again, I ain't about to talk about how she look, whether she gay or not, and all this other shit. I'm not going to be talking about all of that. Because that's what you childish motherfuckers talk about, and that's how you childish motherfuckers go about talking to somebody. I'm going to talk about her talking points. Not what she does with her life, not what she's doing in her life. I'm going to talk about what she's saying. You motherfuckers could actually stand to learn from this. This is how you do it. So, she says that he's outdated, and his powernomics and his ideas are outdated. And when you look at, historically, the black historians that we've had, the orators that we have, you can say that you can say they're outdated because they're older talking points, but the shits are still relevant when you look out here as to the state of black people right now. How could you say that? You say that the book was written in 2005, so it bears no relevancy in almost so-called 2020. It has no relevancy. But what she wants you to believe is that he is a snake, a swindler. He had a bad business deal with some black bank. And if you know the whole situation with that, as she pulled his case up, if you know the whole situation as to why that black bank had to take that L, or at least thus far has taken that L, is because the black insurance company fucked him over when his business suffered during a storm over in Maryland. He had a fish business. If you do any amount of research, you know that a storm caused damage to his business. He lost a substantial amount of inventory, and the black insurance company tried to fuck him. And he had to take him to court over and over and over again. And when he won that money, he didn't take it to the bank. He took it to restore his home, because he had put his house had a lien on his house. He put everything into the business. So what he did, instead of pay that bank back, he went and made himself whole, which I can't hate on that. I'm not going to judge him for that, because that's the first. If you want to sink a motherfucking ship and you get the tools and equipment to patch that hole in your sinking ship, that's what you're going to do first. And I don't give a damn what none of y'all say. You can call it corrupt, crooked, you can call it whatever you want. Wouldn't matter whether the person's black, yellow, purple, green, brown. Wouldn't matter at all. You're going to take care of yourself first. That's just what you're going to do. Natural, human behavior. But she tries to shame him for this and call him crooked for that. And that, to me, is disingenuous. Because she got in her feelings about what she felt as though he was saying about her, even though he didn't mention her name. Her or Tone. Didn't mention either one of them. Y'all know the old saying about hit dogs, right? Now, I've never known Dr. Claude Anderson to be the type to mince words, bite his tongue. I've never known him to be that type of person. If he wanted to call them out specifically, then he would have. But the fact that Yvette Carnell feels as though she's the only one that has ever talked about reparations, or that's even talking about reparations right now, is some bullshit. Just that ego shit that a lot of people get into. And it causes them to have these type of lashing outs. And particularly with somebody like Dr. Claude Anderson, who's been out here in this game for more than I've even been living. Before I was even conceived, he was out here trying to wake black people up. And to call something outdated that black people have not practiced is illogical. And when I saw the video, and I saw how many people were agreeing, well, yeah, that is outdated. That's 2005. It's a whole different ball game now. No, it's not. Like, what are y'all studying that's got you believing the ball game is a whole different ball game? No, it's not. The only thing that's going to save black people is for black people to come together and support each other. That's the only chance we have of even making ourselves whole. That's getting back to zero. Because a lot of us don't understand. We think we starting at zero trying to get forward. No, we in the negative. Now, I know we look at the wage gap and we think that there is we at zero, or we at, $1,700. No. We're in the negative. Getting to zero, the only way that's going to happen is if we work together. That's the only way it's going to happen, which Dr. Claude Anderson alludes to. Group economics, working together. That's not the only thing, but nothing else is going to work. Now, Carnell's logic is, well, we have to vote. And then when I watched a video that Tone Talks, he put out, saying that the answers for the situation that we're in right now to close this wage gap is for transformative political legislation or reparations or baby bonds, shout out to Cory Booker, right? Or guaranteed federal jobs. Now, what you must understand is that the things that they're saying they're not based in no strong stance on blackness or standing up for a so-called black agenda. Baby bonds wouldn't be only offered to black people. Now, the federal jobs thing could only be offered to black people, but there's no way they're going to give 40 million black people federal jobs. That's not going to happen. And I'll argue it's more than that, but that's not going to happen. This government is not going to commit to that. It's not going to happen. What Yvette and Tone are saying is, well, we need to be begging white folk to come look out for us or give us something through the government. Now, again, I won't say this government doesn't owe black people that, but we have to be realistic and start doing some work amongst each other and still fighting at the same time. But again, why wouldn't you work with Dr. Claude Anderson? Because that doesn't make any sense for you to try to turn him into, he's some type of fuckboy, basically. So old, you gotta, try to get dust off this motherfucker. He's completely irrelevant at this point. Why wouldn't you be bringing him to the table? At your conference, you bring in Marianne Williamson? Not Dr. Claude Anderson? Because he had a failed business? But you deem yourself as intelligent, though, Yvette, Tone. Y'all deem yourself as intelligent. You can read articles, you can read data. You know how black business ownership works. Now, Dr. Claude Anderson worked his business that he had it for a little over a decade or a little more. That's big for a black business, because a lot of times when you're going into black business, you're not able to get the capital, the loan, or anything like that to even help put into your business. And then in Dr. Claude's situation, if you have an insurance company that's on some fucky shit, if some shit get rough, then you got a whole nother situation you're dealing with. Because he was trying to work with black folk. But Yvette knows this. She's an intelligent woman. I'm not going to sit here and call this lady dumb. She's intelligent enough to be able to read data, so therefore you know that if you have a black business, you're not going to come out here and just hit it out the park first try. That may not happen. You may have to go back to the drawing board a couple times because you are black. And you're relying on racist ass white folk to either fund you, or black people who haven't been taught to do business with their own people first. You're relying on that. You're taking a chance on that. So how the fuck could you get on a video and disrespect Claude Anderson by name when he didn't disrespect you by name? Not even your hashtag. Man has a pretty sharp memory to recall some of the historical things that he talks about. I'm sure that your hashtag didn't elude him. If he wanted to mention you, he would have. But he didn't. But you mentioned him by name directly. How the fuck can you say something is outdated? We ain't even tried. But I do know what you telling people to do, that's outdated. Black people been voting for what now? Let's say, I think it was 32, 33. Made the shift over to the Democratic Party. Black people been voting Democrat ever since then. What you are telling people to do has been shown to be outdated. What Dr. Claude Anderson is saying hasn't even been tried. Hasn't even been attempted. Because it requires black people to work together. What you're asking black people to do doesn't require black people to work together. They get in a single file line and go cast their vote, whether it be down ballot, Democrat, or whatever the fuck you tell them to do. That doesn't really require a group thing. You form an individual line. You're your own person when you go into that booth. And then you get to say, well, I voted, so therefore I tried. To say that group economics doesn't work. Now, there is one thing she mentioned in a video, as I mentioned in my video, that I do disagree with Claude Anderson about, and that's about buying politicians. I think that is, that's an unrealistic ideology, that black people are going to amount enough money to buy a politician. In a corrupt system, there ain't nothing happening for black folk, because the system has been made to keep you down. If the system has been built on that, you're not about to pay nobody to go in there and do nothing. It's not going to happen like that. There are too many checks and balances, or at least the illusions of checks and balances. If you black and you on some black fist up shit, then checks and balances becomes very real. You're not going to go in there and get nothing passed over on no Senate, cross no board to get anything done for black people. It's not going to work like that. Especially not with a militant, almost a militant style mindset. So a lot of times, typically, assimilationist like Yvette, Carnell, and Tone Talk, like they are, assimilationists will start talking this coalition shit with brown people and things like that. And this is what they're pushing with their campaign is, black and brown, LGBT, this type of unison, which is very similar to the things that Kamala Harris, that she was running on, that she was talking about. It's very similar, even though they came out and spoke against her. It's very similar to what they were talking, what Kamala was talking about. Very similar, eerily similar, if you will. But then she has the audacity to go on to her live and go in on Claude Anderson, and then her audience sits there and lets that shit happen. How the fuck are y'all allowing these things to happen? I understand supporting people, but if somebody is wrong, you got to tell them that they're wrong, and that's even me. It doesn't matter who it is. She's wrong for going in there acting like that versus somebody who been doing this shit for, I don't know how old she is, but at least my whole lifetime. A lot of us, our whole lives. Sitting here talking about how it's outdated when we ain't even tried it. There's plenty of things that's so-called outdated, but we aren't trying. We haven't implemented any of the things that we've been told to do by our ancestors. Y'all can't keep allowing this lady to come out here against, great black people. She did the same thing with Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She did that same thing with her over Dr. Welsing's ideas on homosexuality and the LGBT movement. And the ideology, really more so than anything, because not really the lifestyle, it's the ideology that a lot of these people have. You know, we can't keep letting people do this type of shit. Now, I didn't come in here, call her all out of her name, say nothing about her lifestyle, where she lives. I see a lot of people doing that, like, want to keep calling this lady poor, saying she live at home with her mom, and, all this shit, it doesn't matter to me. That's extra. I don't think black people should be poverty shaming. I mean, we're talking about reparations. Like, we're talking about a wage gap. I don't see how y'all follow people that poverty shame people. Y'all will follow people like that. That will claim they care about black people, but poverty shame people. Talk about how poor people are. Y'all motherfuckers, something's wrong with y'all, man. Y'all like this shit. I didn't have to come on here and do all of that. But she wrong. Her ideology is wrong. And with what Tone has put out here as the overall message of ADOS, the whole shit is wrong. Quite frankly. Now, on the surface, what people, the idea that people were having about ADOS, that wasn't necessarily wrong, but now, that shit's wrong as hell. They doing this coalition shit. With brown folk. Who ain't never sought to come in here and unify with you, but this is what we're doing. We're trying to connect ourselves to them. Asking the government to look out for us when we know damn well this government ain't gonna do that. So until you get your reparations, it would only be sensible that black people be practicing group economics. That's the only sensible option. To call something an idea like that that's not outdated. If you look at some of my most successful times that we've had, is because we were working together as a team, as a group, like everybody else does, really. How can you call that outdated? How y'all let her do that? Huh? How y'all let her do that? Because based on her metrics, there are a lot of things that would be outdated. A lot of things that we still aren't doing. A lot of things that we still aren't trying. A lot of books written. A doctor who doesn't get mentioned enough, by Dr. Amos Wilson. Dr. Amos Wilson wrote books. Are his ideas outdated? Is what Malcolm was talking about outdated? I don't know how y'all are allowing that. I really don't. But I feel like she went too goddamn far. Yvette, you went too far. You went too far. You let your ego come out here and jump out when your plan for black people is to vote down ballot Democrat, whatever. You still telling people to go vote when that's been proven to not work for us. And as if you into all this data that you claim that you're into. You can look at your data and it will show you that black people voting hasn't worked. It'll show you that. It's not going to work in 2020. It ain't worked before then. It will show you that. If you're paying attention. Because had it worked, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. If that was really the way. If trying to get the federal government to look out for us was really a working way to do things, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. So until your savior come, Dr. Claude Anderson has the only realistic plan for black people. You can keep begging your savior to come get you. But until that time, Dr. Claude Anderson, and not just him, many other of our black scholars have told us the same thing. Black people working together is the only thing, that's the only thing we can do. There is no other options. And until black people see that and actually practice that, you cannot call that outdated. We haven't seen it. We saw a glimpse of it. Black people working together, unifying, like Dr. Claude Anderson suggests, with the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party of the 60s. That's the last time we saw anything like that. And look what the government did. Look how threatened they were by it. The government is not threatened by y'all black folk running to no polls. The government isn't threatened by you asking them to come look out for you. Because that makes you dependent on them. They like for you to be dependent on them. That's Democrat shit. So just understand that, people. Yvette Carnell, I doubt you'll listen to this, but if you do, you was wrong as fuck. I doubt you're going to correct your mistakes because ego is involved and you feel as though you are the queen of reparations. And you know, you've taken on this ideology, but you out of line. You're completely out of line. And until your white daddy come get you and save you, black folk don't have an option. The only option we have is to work together and practice group economics. Because you can keep wagging your fists up at the white government all you want to, but that ain't about to do shit. You can go down there and vote, whatever. You can do all that shit, but that's not going to do anything if you really care about that. Because at this point, I don't know if you really care about that or not. But if you really care about that, then you wouldn't be just telling black folk that, you know, not to practice group economics. How can you say that? What is the alternative until your white daddy comes save you? What are you going to do? But that's all the fuck I wanted to say, man. I just couldn't believe listening to her disrespect that man like that. I couldn't believe it. She wouldn't disrespect that man like that. And, you know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And the people who follow her allowed it. Y'all will pardon it. You'll continue to pardon these behaviors. But just so well as she believes, and I've heard her say this before, that people need to be called out when they're on some bullshit. She's not above criticism. So, that's all the fuck I wanted to say. Again, this was not no insult shit. This was just, as a matter of fact, I kept it cool. That's all the fuck I wanted to say. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.